Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight.
Well, today we have a number of the MEPs from the Nordic Green Left, the United Left, the GUI NGL as it's called in Europe, here in Derry. And they've been here for 2 days. Generally what happens when you have a presidency in charge of the council, each of the groups goes to the country that is hosting the presidency at that time. Ireland has a presidency now to the end of June, and therefore the group, GUI NGL, the United Left, was going to Ireland. Well, if they're going to Ireland, of course, they need to come to the north of Ireland, and that was the argument that I put to them at that time, or the position I took. I must say the group was very receptive to the idea, and no better place for them to come than to Derry, particularly given that it is the city of culture. So they arrived here yesterday, and yesterday evening they had a briefing from our joint First Minister, Martin McGuinness. And Martin McGuinness was able to explain to them about where we were at, the political process, where we're at now, the difficulties contained within it, and they had a very good exchange. We left there, and the Mayor of the city, Kevin Campbell, hosted a reception for them in the Clipper restaurant in the Northwest Regional College, and I must say the hoteliers in Derry should be very worried, because not alone did we have a delicious meal, but the standard of service from students was just remarkable. You wouldn't have seen it in any five-star hotel.
This is my second time in Derry, and I'm really it's really good to be here for the second time, because I really like Derry. It's a beautiful city. We are here during the study days for our group, political groups, and so we have been and have conference and talk about the troubles and talk about the history of Ireland, but also have the possibility to have a political tour and visit the Free Derry Museum. But I also arrived on Sunday, so I've been have the possibility to walk around the city and talk about how everything has developed, and we have been hearing researchers talking about that. So, and it's really great. It's a great opportunity for all the group to really know more about the conflict and the reason behind it. So we're very happy to be here, really.
So today there are a number of political discussions, and this morning we took off with a debate and a conversation around the background to the conflict. And that involved two academics here explaining both the background to the conflict and then the role of the state, and also the issue of sectarianism and segregation and the problems that we have and people being trapped in all of that, and then it's how we get out of it. We're now heading into another session, and that's going to include the chair of Sinn Féin, Declan Kearney, and Declan is going to talk about the party's position around outreach and reconciliation and what we've been doing to engage with the Protestant Unionist Loyalist community and have those difficult conversations. We also have Brian Doherty from the Unionist community that's going to outline the position of unionism, and we then have somebody from NIPSA, one of the representatives from NIPSA here, and Mr. Mulholland, Patrick Mulholland, is going to give us an outline of their role, particularly as we are trying to consolidate the political process and the peace process. Maureen Collins is the fourth panellist, and Maureen is going to give us a view of what happened with the Pink Ladies campaign, Dove House, the role of Dove House, cross-community dialogue, and that's really going to allow the rest of the MEPs to get a general sense of the conflict, where we were, and then how we are consolidating and building peace and what kind of cross-community dialogue is taking place. We're going to end this evening with an international event, and we have representatives from Sri Lanka and the Basque Country, Palestinians, and they're going to be talking to people about their own difficulties in their own conflict. There's also someone here from the Tamils, and they are going to just give an international perspective about countries that have been struggling and emerging from conflicts, and lessons that they can draw from our experience here. When they broke over lunch, they were able to get a political tour, and they walked Derry's walls. In fact, Martin McGuinness told them last night that you cannot say that you've come to Ireland unless you've walked to Derry's walls, you've seen our Peace Bridge, you've went to the Bloody Sunday Museum, and you've also perhaps seen places like Belfast and elsewhere. So they did that today, and they're getting a real sense of Ireland in all of its complexities. We're leaving tomorrow, we're travelling to Dublin, and we have then a number of political debates and discussions around the left in government and how we can try to build alliances among left-wing politicians and thinkers so that you can challenge the right wing, which is quite consolidated and really quite cohesive in comparison to the left. And I think there's a job of work for us to do, because not just in Europe, but I think within the member states and the countries, even here in Ireland, we don't do that very well.
Get up, stand